Okay, real quick, I have a question, and I'm curious if you have also wondered the same thing. And the question is, what is heaven and hell actually like? So I know the short answer is no one knows. The Bible mentions heaven and hell, but not any details. But am I the only one who just kind of thinks about it? Even though I know I'm not going to get any answers, but it's like I'm just curious. I'm like, okay, so obviously in Christian theology, you die, get judged, and you either go to heaven, which is eternal bliss, or you go to hell, which is eternal suffering or punishment. We don't know exactly how much punishment or how much suffering that is, how it feels. But I think of silly things like, what age will we be?
Is this true? I've always heard that we'll be 33 years old, kind of our bodies when we're in heaven, because that's how old Jesus was when he died.
I think that's the easiest way to look at it. You know, a more subtle theological approach would be to speak about how we're ageless, but hey, Jesus died at 33, raised at 33. That's thought to be the perfect age, so why not just think about us all being 33 in heaven?
And I think it was Thomas Aquinas said the reason why is there's two imperfections. The youth have an imperfection because they haven't achieved their perfect age yet, and the elderly have an imperfection because they've passed their perfect age. So that's kind of why we all would be 33, so to
at
speak.
that peak, yes.
Peak. Okay. Now, what about our particular characteristics? Eye color, hair color. Does the church say that we'll have those? Do we maintain those?
Yeah, and this is difficult for many in modern society to understand. We want to change everything about ourselves. Some people even want to try to change their gender, which is such follish.
And we'll maintain our gender.
Yeah, we will maintain it. It's folly to try to even think about changing that. We will have it in heaven. That's who God made you, not only in time, but also as destined for eternity.
Yeah, and we don't want to disappoint people, but we can't change that gender because even if you try to do it here on earth, God will bring you right back to where you were biologically.
Yep.
Right. So let's say a baby dies, God forbid, and the baby goes to heaven. Is the baby gonna be a baby, or is the baby gonna be the age of an adult, 18 years old, or is the baby going to be 33, the age that Jesus died? Or what? Is it going to be the age 50 or age 80? Like, from what I understand, our souls are linked to our bodies. So I guess the representation of our bodies will be in heaven or hell. But I don't exactly know how that works. And then I think about like the technology. So right now in 2025, we enjoy the internet, communication, telephones, cars. We travel with machines and use tools. Like, do we have that in heaven? Like, is there internet in heaven? Are there toilets in heaven? Do we live like in Jesus's time, where it's ancient and we don't really know anything, and we're just digging with stuff? Or do we have this kind of immense knowledge and we can do everything? Like, what technology do we use? Do we just fly around? Do we teleport?
No constraint at all by space. We will have this ability to be where we want to be immediately. Absolutely no slowness whatsoever. The speed of light, nothing.
Space and time are no longer hindrances.
Yeah, not at all. You can be where. Think of Jesus after the resurrection. What could he do? He could be anywhere he wanted to be instantaneously, even if a wall and a locked door was
So it's
in
not
between.
bilocating, it's just going where I want to be and where I will it to be at that moment.
Certainly, yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Do we just teleport? How big is heaven? Is it just going to be a few people that are saved, or is it going to be billions that are saved? And are there any movies that depict this? I know the stereotypical vision is like you're walking on clouds and there's like golden gates or whatever, but is that really true? Are you in space? Are you does it look like Earth, right? Are you walking around, there's rivers and mountains and you can take a boat and go to different continents or something like that? Is it just a big globe? And similarly, like, hell is depicted as like this burning dungeon in movies or whatever. But is that true? and let's say hell is, what if hell looks like Earth? I don't know. How does that look? And how does eternal pain happen in hell? Like if you're in hell, are you just addicted to something where you can't get it and you can't find any joy or satisfaction? Like if you're just filled with hate and filled with lust, so you're just trying to hate people and just have sex with women, and maybe you get it, maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you don't get it, and that sucks. And then even if you do get it, it's gonna cause you more pain. There are levels of severity of punishment. That's just how it's a look. Is there physical pain? Is your physical body actually in heaven and hell? What about all your imperfections?
Identity. Is it true we'll get basically our body back? Now, sometimes that may not be thrilling to some people, but it won't be exactly the same, right?
Right. So it's your body, but it's a glorified body. Even though it's yours, it won't be the same. But that's why we treat the body with such reverence upon death. That same body will be raised, but perfected. Still yours.
Even though our body's decayed in the grave?
Even though it's decayed. It will be completely miraculously raised in an instant.
So the next one is tied to that, basically integrity, which means we will literally have all of our body, even our intestines. Is this correct?
Right. Everything about your body, inside and outside, was made by God because that was his will. So his will be glorified in heaven. We'll have all of it. We will still, intestines, as you said, we'll still be able to eat. We won't have to, but we can.
I wonder if that also means that we'll have to go to the bathroom or not.
Yeah, well, who knows about that?
These are the types of comments, or I should say questions that people like to ponder. But I think it's, it's a good question that whatever it is, it'll be perfected.
Right.
Okay.
Like, are my teeth going to be crooked in heaven or hell? Have these blemishes, like, if we have our bodies glorified, what does that mean exactly? And it's also interesting that, from what I understand, that everyone basically lives forever, whether you're in heaven or hell. So in hell, let's say you're suffering for eternity, what does that look like? Is it unbearable pain? Like is it just like just straight up, like just the worst torture you can imagine for eternity? Like, whoa, that's merciless. And God chooses to put you in that merciless situation. Or it's like, I guess it's a cooperation thing. People choose to be away from God. I'm not really sure how that works. So let's say you die and you show up in front of God, right? And he says, hey, you're dead. Just so you know, you're not going to go to heaven. You're going to go to hell. I've judged you. I've looked at your entire life, and this is what I've decided. This is the final judgment. You're going to hell. But I also hear people say that people choose hell. So if someone actually sees God, and they're like, oh, okay, you actually exist. So now that changes how I act, right? Like, is that how that works? Because in heaven, you are always doing good, right? You have free will in heaven, but you can't sin in heaven. You're perfect. You're like Jesus. You're perfect, from what I understand. How does that work? How does anyone become cleansed to become that perfect? And why can't a person who's been condemned cross over into that into that process? Why can't he enter that pipeline to become cleansed to enter heaven? Like, how does that work? It's a lot of logistics that I think about a lot. I think about the aesthetics of heaven and hell. Just what does it look like? Is it a city? I talked about technology. Are there toilets? Do we have to clean toilets? Here on Earth, there's dust. There's grease stains. When you cook, you gotta wipe your butt, right? When you eat in heaven, you have to go poo. It goes through your physical body, right? Do you get sick in heaven? I know there's no dying in heaven, but do you feel pain? Is there a sickness? Do you get boo-boos? If I punch myself in the face in heaven, like, does it hurt? Like I have the free will to do that, right? Like, are we just in some kind of like supernatural world where it's like a video game where we try to jump off a cliff and nothing happens, right? We make a sword and try to stab ourselves and nothing happens, or it's like we get hurt and then we just get healed by Jesus. Like, I don't know. These are fascinating questions. Has anyone ever thought about these questions? I'm sure there are. I'm surprised that there hasn't been like movies or documentaries or a short film made about this. I mean, it's fascinating, right? It's like someone sits down and thinks about the actual logistics of heaven and hell, like on a deep level. Like that's a lot to that. And if you think it through, that could be something that people want to like listen to. It's like, here is Jonathan Baker's take on heaven. You arrive in a 10 by 10 cell, and it's like a honeycomb. You're like a bee in a honeycomb, and you travel with wings, and you eat food, and you don't have to poo. It just naturally disappears, and you don't have to clean up. There's no mopping. There's no cleaning. You don't have to do dishes, or whatever. Or do you have to do dishes? Like, is doing dishes not a big deal if it's eternity? So what's the big rush, right? It's like being stuck in traffic. It's like, we hate being stuck in traffic on Earth because we have places to be. We only got 3 hours after work to do stuff or whatever. We got a bedtime. But in heaven, it's like there's no rush. You take a boat, it'll take you 5 years to get there. All right, cool. Right? If we sleep in heaven, like, is it just Earth 2.0 with video game attributes? Right? These are just interesting questions. And as far as I know, I haven't really seen anyone ponder this stuff, at least not publicly. Right? It's just these silly, like, granular details about the afterlife. And is eternity. I mean, like, if you imagine just life on Earth is like a drop of liquid, right? And eternity is everything times infinity. So it's almost like it's infinitely small, which is kind of paradoxical. It's like life on Earth is so insignificant temporally in terms of time, but it's so significant because it has so much at stake, right? Death means something on Earth, because you cannot die in heaven. So dying on Earth has immense implications on your salvation. For example, what if someone dies before they are saved? All right? That's serious. Like, I'm on a faith journey. I hope and pray that I'm saved. But when does that happen? 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now? I can only pray to God, right? But you also pray that nothing happens to you randomly, unexpectedly. Just a plane falling out of the sky and ending your faith journey right then and there. Like, how does that work? So I don't know. Am I weird? I don't know. I think about these things. So they say, fix your eyes on the eternal, because that's, we see Earth, we see life here on Earth, right? But Earth is what? 100 years on Earth, which is infinitely small compared to eternity. Like, it's just a blip. Doop. I mean, that's life on Earth, right? So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think heaven's like? And if you know any movies or documentaries that kind of play with this idea, like, what is life like in the afterlife? In a very realistic kind of humdrum way. I would love to see that kind of stuff. All right, that's it.